The rain lashed against the towering glass windows of an opulent New York skyscraper, casting distorted reflections of the city lights. Logan Wolfe, once a titan of industry, now confined to a wheelchair, clenched his fists on the leather armrests. His life, once gilded in gold, had become a hollow chamber of regrets. And tonight, regret had a name. Across the room, standing near the doorway, was her. Alina, the woman he had loved with every fiber of his being, and the woman he had been torn away from 20 years ago. Her piercing hazel eyes, though older, carried the same fire. But instead of the love he remembered, her gaze was laced with something colder. "Logan Wolfe," she said, her voice like a blade slicing through his heart. "You don't deserve the air you breathe." Logan's breath hitched. The years hadn't dulled her beauty. Time had only carved wisdom into her features. He remembered the night vividly, the night they were torn apart. The betrayal, the lies, the sinister forces that had conspired to destroy them. His voice trembled. "Alina, I don't," she snapped, her voice steady and venomous. "You think I came here for your excuses? For your pity?" Her words, sharp as glass, pierced through the guilt and bitterness that had festered in Logan for 2 decades. He had searched for her for years, his wealth and influence combing the globe. And now, fate had delivered her to him, but she wasn't the woman he remembered. "You abandoned me," Alina continued, her tone laced with unrelenting pain. "You didn't fight for me. While I begged for help, you turned your back and vanished into your perfect world." Logan's heart thudded like a war drum. "No," he roared, his voice booming with anguish. "I never abandoned you. I was tricked, Alina, lied to by people who wanted to destroy us." Her laugh was bitter, a hollow sound that twisted the knife in his chest. "Convenient, isn't it? 20 years of silence, and now you want to rewrite history." Alina threw a thick envelope onto the table in front of him. Photographs spilled out, evidence of betrayal, manipulation, and calculated lies. Logan's world spun as he stared at images of forged letters, staged conversations, and bribed officials. "I found these years ago," she whispered, her voice trembling. "But by then it was too late. My life, my heart, everything was already shattered." Tears welled in Logan's eyes. The photographs confirmed what he had long suspected. Powerful enemies had ripped them apart. But who, and why? "Who did this to us, Alina?" he asked, his voice low and fierce. "Tell me. Give me a name." Her lips curled into a grim smile. "You think I came here to help you unravel the past? No, Logan. I came to show you what you lost. And to remind you, some wounds never heal." Logan's hands trembled. For 20 years, he had been haunted by dreams of Alina. Her laughter, her touch, her love. And now she was here, but she wasn't his Alina. She was a storm, and he was drowning in her fury. Logan's determination flared. "I didn't just lose you. They took you from me," he said, his voice growing colder. "Whoever they are, I'll destroy them. I swear it." "Save your promises," Alina replied, turning to leave. "You're 20 years too late." Her departure felt like a knife twisting in his gut. But Logan wasn't the man he had been 2 decades ago. He wasn't the naive dreamer who believed love could conquer all. He was Logan Wolfe, a man forged in pain and sharpened by loss. The moment Alina disappeared through the door, Logan summoned his assistant, Damien. The young man was sharp and relentless, the perfect weapon for the battles ahead. "I want you to dig into the past," Logan ordered. "Find out who tore Alina and me apart. Leave no stone unturned." Damien nodded. "Understood, sir. But what if she doesn't want to be found?" Logan's jaw tightened. "She doesn't have to want it. I'll find the truth. And I'll make them all pay." As Logan's private investigator dug into the layers of deceit, Logan replayed every memory, every clue Alina had left behind. He could still see the storm of betrayal in her eyes, the way she blamed him for abandoning her. But he hadn't. The whispers started 3 days later. Damien returned with a single name. Richard Sterling, Logan's former business partner. "Sterling," Logan hissed, his voice filled with venom. He was like a brother to me. Damien placed a folder on the desk. He wasn't. He orchestrated the entire thing. Every forged letter, every false lead. He wanted to dismantle you. And her. Logan's fingers tightened around the folder, his knuckles turning white. Richard Sterling hadn't just betrayed him. He had destroyed the only love that mattered. Late that night, Logan sat alone in his study. The dim glow of the city illuminated the room, but he was trapped in the darkness of his own mind. He stared at a picture of Alina from their youth, her laughter frozen in time. He picked up the phone, dialing a number he had sworn never to call. It rang twice before her voice answered, clipped and distant. "Why are you calling me, Logan?" "You were right. Alina," he said, his voice breaking. "Sterling did this. He destroyed us." Her silence was colder than any words. "And now you're trying to fix it?" She finally replied, her tone hollow. "Don't waste your time. Some things are beyond repair." Richard Sterling was no ordinary enemy. Logan knew confronting him would require precision, manipulation, and ruthlessness. He couldn't afford to let emotions cloud his judgment. Not when the stakes were this high. Damien returned with more damning evidence. Forged contracts, bribed officials, and a series of offshore accounts tied to Sterling's name. "Sterling didn't just tear apart your life," Damien explained. "He profited from it. He siphoned millions from your company during the chaos." Logan's jaw clenched. This isn't just about the money. It's about making him feel the weight of every life he ruined. Logan made his first move, contacting Sterling under the guise of reconciliation. He knew Sterling wouldn't suspect him. After all, Logan's wheelchair was a symbol of defeat. A man who had lost everything. "Logan," Sterling greeted with a fake smile at their meeting, sipping his whiskey. "It's been too long." "Too long," Logan replied, his voice steady despite the rage burning inside. "I've been thinking. It's time we talk about the past." Sterling's eyes narrowed, but he smirked. "The past is just that. Past. Let it go." Logan leaned forward, his smile sharp. "Oh, I haven't even begun." Logan's plan was slow and deliberate. He began planting whispers of Sterling's deceit in the industry, unraveling his empire from within. Deals collapsed. Partnerships faltered. Sterling's confidence wavered as cracks appeared in his carefully built facade. "Logan, what are you playing at?" he demanded during their next meeting. "Nothing, Richard," Logan replied smoothly. "Perhaps you've made too many enemies over the years." Sterling's laughter was hollow. "You're still the same man, Logan. Always playing the noble fool. That's why I had to step over you." Logan's blood boiled, but he kept his composure. "And yet, here I am." While Logan waged war against Sterling, Alina remained an enigma. She had disappeared again, leaving only questions in her wake. Damien's investigation uncovered fragments of her life. A quiet existence in a small town, a career teaching art to children. But beneath the surface lay scars that hadn't healed. "She built a life after you, sir," Damien said carefully. "But it wasn't easy. She faced hardship, poverty, betrayal, even danger." Logan's heart ached. "I need to see her." Damien hesitated. "She might not want to see you." "Then I'll make her want to," Logan replied, his determination unshakable. Logan arrived in Alina's small town unannounced. He found her in a sunlit studio, surrounded by children's paintings. Her back was to him as she guided a young girl's brushstroke. "Alina," he said softly, his voice trembling. She froze, the brush slipping from her fingers. When she turned to face him, her expression was a mixture of shock and anger. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "I had to see you," Logan replied. "I had to tell you everything." Her eyes narrowed. "You think showing up here erases 20 years of pain? Get out." Logan didn't leave. He stayed outside the studio, waiting until Alina finally emerged hours later. She glared at him, but there was a flicker of something else in her eyes. Curiosity, perhaps. "You don't give up, do you?" she said, crossing her arms. "Not when it comes to you," Logan replied. Her laugh was bitter. "You always did know the right words to say. But words won't fix this, Logan. They won't bring back the years we lost." I'm not asking for forgiveness, he said, his voice raw. I'm asking for a chance to make things right. Alina stared at him, her resolve wavering for just a moment. She had spent years building walls around her heart, but seeing Logan in front of her, broken yet determined, was harder than she expected. You think you can fix this? After everything, she asked, her voice trembling. I don't know, Logan admitted, his gaze unwavering. But I have to try. You're the only thing I've ever truly cared about. She shook her head, tears brimming in her eyes. You cared too late. Her words were meant to cut, but they only strengthened Logan's resolve. As Logan returned to his hotel, Damien waited with a new revelation. We found something else, sir. Alina's life wasn't just hard. It was sabotaged. Logan's eyes darkened. What do you mean? Sterling didn't stop after separating you two, Damien explained. He sent people after her, ensured she couldn't get work, destroyed her chances at stability. Logan slammed his fist on the table, the anger surging through him. He's taken everything from her. From us. He'll pay for this. The next day, Logan confronted Alina again. This time, he wasn't seeking permission. He was seeking answers. Why didn't you tell me he kept hurting you? Logan asked, his voice raw. Alina's eyes widened, and then she looked away. Because I didn't want to be a victim, Logan. I wanted to survive on my own. And you did, Logan said softly. But I need to know, was there more? Did he take anything else from you? Her silence was deafening. Then her voice broke. Yes, he took my son. Logan froze, the weight of her words crushing him. Our son. Alina nodded, her hands trembling. I was pregnant when they separated us. I tried to keep him safe, Logan, but they took him from me. I thought he'd be better off without me. Logan's world spun. He had a child, a son he never knew existed. Where is he? Logan demanded, his voice filled with urgency. I don't know, Alina whispered, tears streaming down her face. They said he was adopted, but I could never find him. I searched for years. Logan gripped her hands tightly. We'll find him. I promise you, Alina. We'll bring him back. Logan's revenge against Sterling took on a deeper meaning. This wasn't just about justice for himself or Alina. It was about finding their son and restoring what was stolen from them. Damien worked tirelessly, tracking adoption records and pulling every string Logan's wealth could buy. Days turned into weeks as they pieced together fragments of the boy's life. Finally, a breakthrough came. Sir, Damien said, his voice trembling with excitement. We found him. His name is Caleb. He's 20 years old. Logan's heart raced. Where is he? In Sterling's custody, Damien replied, his voice laced with disgust. He raised him as his own. The revelation hit Logan like a freight train. His son had been under Sterling's roof all these years, poisoned by the man who had ruined his family. Logan's hands shook as he stared at Caleb's photo, a young man with piercing blue eyes, so much like his own. We need to approach this carefully, Damien advised. Sterling won't let him go without a fight. Logan's voice was cold and steady. Then we'll make him. Logan arrived at Sterling's sprawling mansion under the guise of a business meeting. Sterling greeted him with his usual smirk, but Logan could see the unease in his eyes. I thought you'd given up by now, Sterling said, swirling his drink. Logan leaned forward, his expression deadly. You took my son, Richard, and I'm here to take him back. Sterling's smirk faltered. Your son? Caleb is mine. He doesn't even know who you are. Logan's fury boiled over. He will. And when he does, he'll see you for the monster you are. Logan didn't waste time. He found Caleb on the mansion's grounds, practicing his fencing skills. The young man turned as Logan approached, his expression guarded. Who are you? Caleb asked, his tone sharp. Logan's heart ached at the distance between them. I'm someone who's been looking for you your entire life. Caleb frowned. I don't know what you're talking about. Sterling is my father. Logan shook his head. He's lied to you, Caleb. He's not your father. I am. Caleb's world spun as Logan revealed the truth. He showed him evidence, photos, documents, and letters that exposed Sterling's web of lies. "You're saying my whole life has been a lie?" Caleb asked, his voice shaking. Logan nodded. "I know it's hard to believe, but I'm your father. And your mother, Alina, has been waiting for you." Caleb's eyes filled with confusion and anger. "If that's true, why didn't you find me sooner?" Logan's voice broke. "Because I didn't know you existed until now. But I'm here, and I'll do whatever it takes to make this right." Sterling realized his grip on Caleb was slipping. He tried to manipulate the young man, spinning tales of how Logan and Alina had abandoned him. "You can't trust them," Sterling warned. "They'll use you and throw you away." But Caleb wasn't as easily swayed as Sterling expected. The cracks in his lies were becoming too large to ignore. Logan brought Caleb to Alina, their reunion raw and emotional. Tears streamed down her face as she hugged her son for the first time in 20 years. "I've missed you every day," Alina whispered, holding him tightly. Caleb, overwhelmed, clung to her. "I don't know who to trust anymore." "You don't have to figure it out all at once," Logan said gently. "We're here, and we're not going anywhere." Logan and Damien unleashed their final attack on Sterling, exposing his crimes to the world. His empire crumbled, his reputation destroyed. Sterling was arrested, his life's work turned to ash. But for Logan, the real victory was in the family he had reclaimed. Caleb began to spend more time with Logan and Alina, slowly piecing together the truth of his past. The wounds didn't heal overnight, but the love of his parents gave him strength. Logan and Alina worked to rebuild the trust between them, their bond growing stronger with each passing day. The pain of the past didn't disappear, but it no longer defined them. On a quiet evening, Logan, Alina, and Caleb sat together, watching the sunset. For the first time in decades, Logan felt a sense of peace. "We lost so much," Logan said softly, "but we found each other again. And that's all that matters." Their journey had been one of pain, betrayal, and loss, but it had led them back to where they belonged, together.